Good evening, nerds around the world. I'm Paul English, and welcome to the Nerds Unite as One Flash and Arrow recap show. I am joined, as always, by our co-host, Mr. Chris Miller. How are you, my friend?
Doing good. And especially this weekend, saw Avengers. That was pretty awesome. Pretty good movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. And don't forget, everyone, on Monday, May 4th, we are going to have a very special episode of the main Nerds Unite as One show where we're going to discuss all things Avengers themed everything. So I hope you'll tune in for that. But today, episode is about Flash and Arrow. We did not have a show last week. Some stuff come up in personal life kept us from doing this. So this week we are going to go through 2 weeks of Flash and Arrow. A lot of big stuff has been happening, and we will do our best to get into all of it. So let's turn back time a little bit, go to last week's episode, starting with the Flash. This is the one where it has the metahuman that can copy other people's abilities. Overall, I thought this was a decent episode. Also, if I recall, I think this is the one where Joe and Cisco went to Starling City, so we had another team up with Captain Lance. So that part I really enjoyed. I enjoyed those moments a whole lot. Chris, what did you think about that episode?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. I thought that, like I said, the villain was kind of minor. I mean, he wasn't really like you said, he wasn't a memorable character. So you got some good moments in the story. I like how they, how Joe and Cisco teamed up with Captain Lance. It seemed to be a lot of energy going around, in the whole thing, and. Right, but the visual effects department in this one, it's just like wow, just like they really maintained a consistent level of quality, especially with this series.
All right, so unfortunately, like you said, the main villain was the villain of the episode was kind of minor, so. There's really not much to talk about in terms of like Barry going up against this new villain. Like the big stuff was happening over in Starling City and those interactions going on. So I think for this portion, like discussing last week's episode of The Flash, I think we're mostly going to be focusing on that because that's where the big action was happening. So one thing that I found really good was the dialogue that would go on between Joe and Lance. I mean, they're both senior policemen. They're also fathers to daughters. I mean, I love those ways those two interacted. I wish they done that more often. And truth be told, I'm hoping that against my theory that Captain Lance doesn't die because I want to see more of Joe and Lance interacting. Chris, what did you think about the interactions they had?
Like I said, like you. I mean, I thought their the scenes together were pretty solid. And literally they're. Can have kind of contrasting circumstances, Of course, with Joe trying to keep, Barry out of the dark. Iris out of the dark about Barry's identity. Of course, with Lance, with his whole thing with Laurel, they could have sort of opposite situations. I like how Joe was trying to get, try to talk Lance into, giving Laura a chance. I mean, I thought that those to me were some of the best in the episode. The way they interacted with each other.
Absolutely. Speaking of Laurel, is it just me or are Laurel and Cisco just made for each other? Because those scenes they were just adorable, and I think that's the best Laurel's ever been. I think she should move to Central City because her and Cisco are so cute together. What did you think about that?
I mean, I definitely felt she was definitely fleshed out a bit more, and it was great to see a lighter side of herself. And of course, they had great interactions together, her and Carlos Valdez, and especially in this episode. He may even have a little crush on Laura.
I love you. That was just perfect. That was perfect detail to everything. And oh my God, that was, I remember when Cisco gives Laurel the device and they're trying to come up with a name for it. Cisco just comes up, the canary cry. Laurel just loved it. I thought that was just perfect delivery on Cisco's part. He is such a talented actor, and I love the prize he gets. Like a doctored up picture of him standing with the canary. That was just awesome. And I especially love Laurel's quip. You tell anyone about the truth about this, I will kill you. And that's no joke. That one made me laugh so hard. Oh, man. So, all right. So the big thing that happened, they find the corpse of the real Harrison Wells, which is kind of enough to get Cisco and Caitlin believing that this whole thing is true and that the guy they thought was Dr. Wells is not the real guy. That obviously led to a even bigger episode, which happened this week that we'll get to in a moment. But initially, what was your reaction when you saw that scene, not knowing what was going to happen this week?
When I saw, I was kind of expecting it, because they can't. There is no way they can be held in the dark for long. They were eventually going to discover it. Yes, the man they think is Dr. Wells. It's not really Dr. Wells. It's actually someone else. He's actually a different person. He took the form of. This guy took the form of Dr. Wells. And has been doing that for such a long time. Well, really, it was nice to see how he found out about him and the possible disappearance of himself.
Yes.
Come like when 2024 comes around.
Yes.
That was an interesting scene.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, solid episode last week of Flash. All right, let's talk about Arrow. I know a lot of big stuff happened here. We'll get into the specifics in a moment, obviously. But first, an overall impression of the episode. I thought this is a very strong one. I enjoyed the pacing of it. Some of the big reveals, the stuff that happened were very good. Chris, quick overall thing. What do you think of last week's episode of Arrow?
I thought it was a really good episode overall. There's a lot of tension, and there seems to be a very heavy going episode. Especially, it was nice to see the Lazarus Pit for the first time.
Yes, indeed. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. It's about time they bring in the Lazarus Pit. As I learned more about Batman's Rogues Gallery, and the more as much as I love the Dark Knight films, there are a couple of things I don't like, which is Chris Nolan was trying to make it too real, if that makes any sense. And Batman is still a comic book character. He interacts with supernatural things all the time. I mean, his best friend's an alien. So and that was kind of the thing that I was bummed about when I learned that Chris Nolan left out the Lazarus Pit out of Ra's al Ghul's story, because that is a pivotal point of Ra's al Ghul, which is the Lazarus Pit, and the fact that he's lived for over 600 years. So I was so glad to see that brought in. I was so thrilled to see it. They used it. It worked. That's a good thing. Thea is back to life. I got to tell you, as she was starting to recover, I wasn't sure if she was going to. I actually got a little nervous for a moment that she actually was going to forget for good who Oliver was. As that was unfolding, what was your reaction towards Thea's recovery?
I thought that was funny. It was like they did it real well. That they kind of kind of gave her like a kind of a memory lapse, not memory lapse. She quickly had. I mean, at the moment she had forgotten. Much of her memory about who her brother is and stuff like that. It would have been a shame if they dragged it out in just several episodes. That would have been like a horrible choice on the writer's part. They went with that choice. They made her forget. I mean, I'm glad they had her quickly recover from that. And still fall. And Malcolm Merlin's still a dick.
Yes, he is still a bit of a dick. Okay. I know that there's one big moment in this episode. I'm sure anyone who's going to watch this is waiting for us to talk about this moment. You know what it is. We will get to it, I promise. But first, little backpedaling to another moment that led up to this moment. Actually, a couple moments. The first one, when Felicity asks Ray to borrow the plane and Ray kind of confronts her about her feelings. I enjoyed the way that was handled. I actually felt really sorry for Ray, I got to be honest with you, just because I do like Ray. He's a good character, and I felt his heart break a little bit. That's just the emotion I got from reading his eyes. What did you think?
Mm-hmm. I'm not really big of a Ray Palmer fan. I think he's an okay character. He's a little reminiscent of Tony Stark at times. He's a little bit full of himself, like he is. But yeah, you can't help but feel sympathy for him. I actually wanted to laugh at one point. Let me stop. Okay. But you can help. Yeah, you get the feels when when Felicity confesses how she really feels about him. Mm-hmm. They had their chemistry together, but I felt, along the way, it's not going to last for long. I mean, there's only one man she really has, these types of feelings for, that's Oliver. But yeah.
Yep. All right. So speaking of that, I gotta tell you, the way she confronted Ra's al Ghul in the middle of the episode, I always knew that she was clever, she was witty, she was humorous, but that just shows you how tough she can be. I mean, that's a side of her I don't think I've ever seen, just having the courage to confront someone like that. That was just cool. I enjoyed that aspect of her. What did you think?
Yeah, I would be. I mean, I felt that was I was really impressed with. I mean, I was taken away by that. It's like she said she had the gall to go up to him, and she had to explicitly tell her how she feels about her and about him, about Oliver being Ra's al Ghul's heir. Because there was a fire. She said there's a fire in her. She got snippy with him. I mean, I found that really refreshing that she had the courage to stand up to him and say this is madness and stuff like that. I mean, you see her kind of. We see Felicity have her quirks, not really quirks or idiosyncrasies, but but this was like. This was like a great moment for her. I liked it. I was quite taken with that,
Okay, this is it. The moment that everyone who watches our show wanted us to get at. Olicity fans around the world, rejoice! They did it. They got together at last. It has finally happened. It only took 2+ seasons, but they did it. And it was a glorious sight. Olicity fans rejoiced. We got our voices were heard. We got the writers to do it. They put them together. Yes, yes, yes. I loved it so much. It's about time. Chris, what was your reaction when it happened? It finally happened. How did you enjoy it?
Yes, it finally happened. They finally got that. It was nice of them to express their feelings for each other. Yes, they did the deed. They did the deed. I'm gonna go further than that. I mean, but because it's like, they could have put it off with it for too long, and she had to. And this mistake, in spite of all they've been through, especially with Oliver taking the choice to lead this whole organization. This had to happen. She had to reveal how she felt about him. I mean, it was like it paid off.
Yes, indeed.
It for so long, but they had it. It was handled very well. I like how they did it, how they handled it. It's really
loved how it was handled myself. And as the rest of that episode was going, all I was thinking was, yes, they did it. They finally did it. But about a day later, looking back on it, I suddenly got a little bit of concern because that has always been a subplot. They're kind of like on again, off again.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire series with their kind of chemistry between each other and, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Now that it's finally happened, my concern is what's there left for Felicity to do? And that's making me very scared because I remember when we started this segment of our show, which is like, I think halfway through season 3 of like after we did the first half of season 3, Caleb brought up that he had a theory that Felicity was going to die at the end of the season. Now, I didn't think that was going to be the case. I said I was going to be pissed as hell if they did that. And my theory is actually it's Captain Lance who's going to die. But even though I know that Emily Bett Rickards is going to be in the final episode, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to get a little concerned. Like, now that this has happened, are they going to kill her off? Because I don't know what's left for her to do. I don't know where else they can go with this. So, I don't know. Give me your reaction. Do you think there's more for her to do, or now that they finally, gotten together, what's left for her?
I mean, I'm not really sure at this point. Like I said, there could be. I think there's a possibility that she may be killed off. There's a possibility she may not. She may have to. She may have to still be part of the team. Of Laurel and Diggle trying to clean up Starling City. Like I said, I believe I said this before, but there could be multiple casualties and come the end of the season. I don't think anyone is exempt. I believe no one's safe. Because I feel there's a strong sense in me, that there's going to be a big smackdown going on, and I think not everyone's going to make it out. This one, it could be Captain Lance, it could be Diggle, it could be Roy. It could be anyone. Anyone is expendable, of course, except Oliver because he's the main person.
Well, actually, I think Roy's expendable because I don't think Roy's gonna die just because he's no longer a regular on the show, and they've already said that he's gonna make at least one appearance in season 4. So I mean, I know he's gonna appear in one more episode this season. I think they're saying that they're gonna try to bring him back for an episode or 2 in season 4. So I think he's safe. But yeah, you know what? I think much to a lot of much to Caleb and Jack's dismayed, I think Laurel's going to be safe because now that she's starting to improve a little bit more, and I don't know, I don't think she's going to get the axe, but I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, solid episode of Arrow all around, and man, I got to tell you, at the end of that last one, I really felt the emotional weight of Diggle and Felicity and even Thea saying goodbye to Oliver with an all that they may never see him again. I really got the emotional weight of that. Did you get it?
Yeah, I felt it the same as well. It's this is the guy. I mean, he brought all them. He may not necessarily want them to be all in the fold, but they've been through a lot for him, and and just when he takes on this mantle, it's just and then they're leading different paths. It's just man, it's just you seen them go through so much. It's having a great part about this. It can tear you up. I mean, yeah, I was a little. I felt this weight, when we all split up, especially with Oliver. Man.
Yes, indeed. All right, so that was last week's episode. They were solid. Now let's get to this week's episode. Let's start again with The Flash. I'm trying to remember the details of it. I know that this is when they try to. Overall, I thought this was one of the best episodes so far of the season, and it's leading up to an epic final clash. I love the pacing of it. The action was okay, but the story writing was phenomenal. Give me an overall impression of what you thought of the episode before we get into some specifics.
I mean, yeah, I thought this is one of the best episodes of the season. The mixture of tension and emotion, it's pulsating. I mean, you feel how pulsatingly, you feel how pulsatingly tense this one is. I mean, it's a very intense climax, and of course, and Dr. Tom Campbell does justice to this role. He just plays a just brilliantly, just twisted and evil villain, and in this piece, you know, and he's just downright menacing in this, you know, in this whole thing, you know. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was so magnificent. I mean, I felt it was just I was excited the entire time. It's the excitement that they brought, they absolutely delivered, you know, tenfold, man. It's just
absolutely. All right, so let's get into some specifics in this episode. The first one that just threw me for a total loop was the I guess for lack of a better word, the AI in that mini room. All these Easter eggs of the future, like Barry's a police captain or a big scientist. He created this AI. Iris, he's married to Iris. He got the girl of his dreams. He's a superhero, all that. I mean, just his glimpse of the future was just holy shit. So much going on here. In a very short time. So that brief little second, that was one hell of an intro to an episode, huh?
Oh yeah. They established so much even in that short scene. You know, with Barry being the founding member of. Okay, we won't say anything because we you know you get the reference. You know, yeah, but they established so much. You know, Iris being his wife, and the fact that he created Gideon, that threw me for a little bit. It's like wow. It's just like the fact he can create this kind of AI. It's just like. That was kind of cool, you know. And to me, it's just like, especially with Cisco dropping the F-bomb, not the F-bomb we know.
You know, I think the last two episodes, I've really a flash. I don't remember if it was last one, but I know it was in this one. It was the episode with the bee lady, so it might have been the episode before. I love the Indiana Jones references they've been dropping. Because I love that franchise, so that always throws me for such a good laugh when they drop an Indiana Jones or a Star Wars reference. That's just cool. And I think Cisco dropped one in that scene.
Bees.
That was cool.
Why it had to be bees?
I forget the one he dropped in this most recent episode, but I know it made me laugh so hard. Okay, so now we have this little subplot regarding Eddie wanting to propose to Iris and Joe saying no way, but he doesn't explain why. Except, actually, I think he only explains why to Cisco. Maybe it's like I really how do I word this right? That just really shows that Joe really wants what's best for Iris to the point that he knows for sure. That he just seems to know for sure that Iris is meant to be with Barry. That's just kind of the sixth sense that I've always envied about parents. They just have this sixth sense of what they know is best for their kid. Joe just knows Iris is meant to be with Barry, and she needs to figure that out fucking fast. So what did you think about that whole subplot of Eddie wanted to propose, Joe says no, and why? Because he knows Iris should be with Barry. What did you think about all that?
I guess with you, I thought it was interesting, especially with all that's going on. I mean, the Irish, with the whole Barry Iris, Eddie love triangle has really been one of the weaker aspects of this season. I mean, I've been a really big fan of Iris as a character. She's surprising. Kevin Spoughton. She doesn't surprisingly a good performance in this episode.
Yes,
especially with completing especially of overseas with Grant Gustin and Rick Cosma, but you can get the sense with Joe and then with him tearing down Eddie's proposal, you kind of get the sense that Joe, would distinctively know that Iris needs to be with someone who is right for her, and I believe Joe knows that Eddie really isn't the one for her. You can really get the sense of that.
All right, so this threw me for the biggest curveball of the entire season. They set the trap for Thawne, and it doesn't work, and we find out why. Thawne has put surveillance cameras over the entire city. He has been watching Barry and Cisco and Joe since day one. I did not see that coming up. I didn't see that coming a dozen miles away. I had no idea he was that manipulative, just what an evil genius he was. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw that?
Well, the whole trap, I mean, it's just, the whole trap.
The way it failed to unfold.
That really put me on the edge of my seat. That was paced perfectly well. You can feel, like you said, you can feel the tension. It's just like, you know, you can just like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was glued to my seat the whole time. It's a whole, the buildup was brilliant. Oh my God. It's like, it suited it very, 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 very well. And the sequence with the Cisco, it's just like, that was nail biting in itself, you know. And the fact that he was used to decoying, that was the shapeshifter in one of the prior episodes. Whoa, it was like, this man is diabolical. It's like, what the fuck? It's like,
oh yeah, that was tension after tension-filled moment, tension-filled moment after tension-filled moment. My goodness gracious. All right, so the big thing that happened near the end, which is gonna, I think, make next week's episode all the better. We see in flashbacks how much Iris cares for Barry, how she wants him to wake up out, because the flashbacks are Barry still in the coma. This little spark that happens as she reaches for him. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the scene, when Wells kidnaps Eddie, mm-hmm. Barry goes in dressed as a Flash, trying to assure Iris, listen, I'm going to get him. Just go home. Be safe, blah, blah, blah. As he's leaving, that little lightning spark happens. I did not expect her to put two and two together that quickly. Exactly. So that was kind of a shock. I'm like, wait a minute, she put that together that quickly? Holy shit.
What the hell? Oh, my God.
And from what I saw from like the sneak previews of next week's show, I get the feeling she's pissed about this.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely going to make next week's episode very interesting, and I think it's going to silence a lot of Iris haters. I think this is going to really put her over the top a little bit more. It's going to make her a better character in the show. Mm-hmm. But I think we finally had enough villains of the week type of thing. I think the next 3 episodes are going to be all Reverse Flash. Mm-hmm. I just go head-to-head battles all the time. I cannot wait. One thing that the next trailer for next week's show brought a little bit of concern to me. I've been under the impression this whole time that Grodd is being built up to be the big bad guy of season 2. Mm-hmm. But watching the trailer for next week's show, we're seeing that Flash is going to confront Grodd in this episode. Now I'm starting to get a little concerned that he's going to be reduced to a throwaway. And I'm hoping to God that doesn't happen, because I want Grodd to be the big baddie of season 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not so sure it happened. So I don't know. Have you seen the trailers for next week's show? And if so, what do you think about Barry confronting Grodd next episode?
I have seen it, of course, and of course, I mean, Grodd is, of course, one of the most, memorable villains in the rogues gallery of the Flash character. I mean, he could be proved to be, he may prove to be like a second banana, not really a second, but he could be proved to be equally menacing and diabolical and, threatening and just chilling, downright chilling. I mean, because when we see the promos with Grodd, he just like dude's just downright. I mean, this monkey's downright scary.
Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is. Speaking of future villains, now the two Thawnes have connected. Abart has revealed himself to Eddie. How do you think this is going to work? Like, how do you think, knowing that he has Eddie, now that Eddie knows he has a distant relative who becomes supervillain, how do you think this is going to impact him, like, throughout the rest of the season? Do you think he'll become a villain by season's end, or he'll spend, like, the rest of the season and maybe a part of next season trying to deny a part of it? No, I'm nothing like that. No, blah, blah, that kind of thing. How do you think he's going to unveil?
I don't even know. It's just like, I mean, Eddie's pretty much, you could see from the Eddie, from the beginning season, he was kind of like your generic cop, But it really felt like when the episode with the shapeshifter, I actually liked Eddie. You know, they managed to give him some depth into this. You know, they managed to and dimension. Right? He just wasn't, you know, Iris's, boyfriend or Joe's partner. He was really a part of the team. You know, I actually liked him. You know, I mean, he may be conflicted at this point. I mean, he may slowly be tempted to, you know, go through the path of the dark side. So, I mean, I'm not sure at this point. He may be conflicted. I mean, he may be conflicted, you know, to side with his one of his descendants. You know, it's going to be
going to be very cool to see how that all unfolds, and I can't wait for it. Okay, now let's get to this week's episode of Arrow. I think this is one of the darkest episodes, not just of the season, but I think this is one of the darkest episodes they've ever done because it really looks like Oliver's become a villain now. Like, I loved how they handled it, but my God, this episode was dark. It was intense. It was just unpredictable. I never saw any of that coming. I mean, we'll get to specifics obviously later, but I mean, first, give me an overall impression of what you thought of this episode.
I thought it was a really good episode. You know, like I said, they raised the stakes high at this point. You know, this is like I said. I mean, it isn't as morbid as the previous episode, but it's a bit. I mean, like I said, it's a bit. I mean, I didn't say this, but it's a bit heavy going, intense. You know, and you know, with the whole, it's just like the whole thing, and you know, the trials Alder has to go through to become head of the League of Assassins. You know, yeah, I was like. This is one of the things where you know what's going to happen next. It's completely suspenseful. I mean, it's just like it's just like with Oliver, you know, becoming outside him. This is like God. It's just like the whole and the whole how his former teammates are dealing with it. You know, it's difficult to see. It's just like, and the fights were actually believable in this episode.
Yeah,
it was pretty intense.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. See some specifics. Well, first of all, I suppose we should talk about some of the just the emotional weight of the episode. With seemingly the entire team almost convinced that Oliver's turned against him. He's the bad guy now. What a blow that's got to be. What did you think about the way the team handled that?
I think they handled it like pretty well in this episode. They convincingly, I believe, believably, you know, dealt in the manner they did it. They had this, you know, did it in a pretty believable way. This season has had its had its highs and its lows. You know, some questionable character choices. You know, and it's like, but yeah, the fallout. You know, after I always made a choice, you know, like I said, of course, you know, we all know, become the head of the League of Assassins, and the aftermath was pretty well done. You know, it's just like you can certainly feel the weight, you know, of on Diggle and everybody. It's just like, and Felicity, yes, of course, she's broken up the most. You know, just kind of, that really surprised me. Especially in this episode. Wow.
Yes, indeed, yes. One thing I want to talk about, and that's Laurel. Now, we've all said that she is our least favorite character on the show. We've all trashed her time and time again, Caleb more than the rest of us. But I got to be honest with you, she played a pivotal role in this episode, and I got to be honest, I think this might be the best Laurel-heavy episode of the entire series because she was so believable. I really liked her. Were believable, were genuine. She definitely improved a little more as a fighter, and I got to be honest, when she unleashed the canary cry for the first time, I'm like, okay, that's just cool. So, I mean, why can't the writers write her more like that? I mean, I probably wouldn't hate her as much, if at all. So, I mean, what did you think about Laurel in this episode?
I mean, yeah, she has really dramatically changed in this episode. You know, she really comes to her own into the fold in this episode. You can really represent see how strong of a figure she is. I mean, you know, just like you have to protect Nissa. You know, she's really to stand between her former lover and Ra's al Ghul. To save her from certain death, and the canary cry was wow. That was just like that was unbelievable. I liked it, she was lackluster. It was no doubt she was a lackluster character, but that thing added a new dimension to her. And seeing her fight, wow, just like it was incredible. Just like. Yeah, they giving her. They needed to give this character the juice that she needed, and so she has great moments in this episode.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Speaking of great moments, those flashbacks were really good. Like we got the hint. We discovered in the last week's episode that Maceo's son died in China. You got how the weight of it, but now in this episode, looks like we get a clue. Like, okay, this is how he died. He died from the Alpha Omega virus. He got infected with it. I think that's what kills him. Introducing it again, realized that Nyssa had a vial of it, and now Oliver's graduation ceremony, his rite of passage, becoming he's been tasked to destroy his own city, which it looks like he's trying. The next week's episode is going to be all about that. I mean, the finale, the final 5 minutes of that episode, seeing Oliver and Rach interacting with Rach.
Ball.
To hear the rest of Chris's reaction. I don't know how much longer I'm going to wait.
Hey,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay, my goddamn internet's blacking out on me big time. Okay, did you hear my last question?
No, actually I didn't. Yeah.
Okay, one of us blacked out. Son of a. Thank you, Google Plus. You've been so good to us the last few weeks. Now today you suck. Fuck you. All right. The two major curveball that happened in the last 5 minutes of the episode. Rach telling Nyssa she's gonna marry Oliver, and then I guess Oliver's rite of passage act, if you will, in order to become the true heir to the demon. He's got to destroy Starling City with the Alpha Omega virus that killed Maceo's son. I mean, two major curveballs in 5 minutes. I did not see that coming. What did you think about those?
Yeah, like you said, this is an episode where you don't know where anything's going. This was one of the more pivotal, more shocking moments of the episode. Kind of like goes back to when in the comics when Ra's al Ghul wanted Batman to marry Talia al Ghul, and he wanted to become his heir. And it's kind of it kind of mirrors that here, where Oliver or Al Sahin, as Ra's al Ghul calls him, wants him to take Nissa's hand in marriage. Wow, this is like that completely threw me off. I wonder how that's going to develop. You see Nissa strongly resist her father's choice. To have them be wedded in holy matrimony.
All right. Oh, sorry.
I mean, yeah, that was one of that was definitely one of the more jaw-dropping moments in this episode.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. I want to, before my internet shits out on me again, let's wrap this up. Last question. It appears to me that Oliver has been brainwashed, but I don't know, which is why he's doing all this. He's kind of like been, you saw at the beginning all that lighty changes and all stuff. It looks like he's been brainwashed. So I want to know from you, how long will he be like that? How long is he going to be brainwashed before he comes back to his senses, kind of like breaks the spell Raish had on him, and returns to Starling City to be the Arrow? How long do you think he'll be brainwashed?
Maybe long. I mean, I'm not even sure. He may be able to snap out of it in the next episode. You know, he really is unsettled as a servant of Ross in this episode. I mean, it was like the commitment is just like to this mission was. I mean, it was jaw dropping. It was just like it's completely unbelievable, you know. And Stephen Amell just really gives it his best in these last two episodes. So he was completely on point. He really sells it for you, you know, as this guy who, you know, as this man who's being influenced by this warlord to shed his former identity. You know, the scenes he had together. It's just wow. It's just, like how well done they were. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's just like it may take some time for him to get back to where he was. You know?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap it up for our Flash Arrow discussion. Before we go, though, something Stephen Amell related that I'd like to ask. Chris, have you seen the set photos of Stephen Amell dressed as Casey Jones on the set of the new Turtles movie?
I have.
What do you think about
it? The mask is pretty badass, though. You know, Stephen Amell's always been kind of considered a wooden actor. You know, it's like there's not a lot of strength to him. He just has certain, you know, he just has certain strengths about him. You know, I'm not really a big Turtles guy. You know, I'm not really, you know, really a know-how about the mythology of it. And, you know, some people have been questioning the choice to cast him in this film. You know? I mean, like I said, Stephen Amell isn't one of the greatest actors in the world. So I think he can be completely serviceable, but the mask looks pretty ridiculously awesome. It's just, you know, I mean, I liked what he created. You know.
Well, Casey Jones, I don't know if he was ever in the comics. I remember him from the old '80s show that I have. He was kind of this like this vigilante type of guy who always like beat up criminals. He would use like baseball bats or hockey sticks or golf club and stuff like that. Just kind of like, and he was kind of like I don't want to say like an ally of the Turtles, but because there were times when they would fight each other, but he would like come up to them, kind of like help them out at times. So he's always been like a much more like a vigilante type of guy as opposed to the Turtles who were pure heroes. So that's kind of what Casey Jones is. I just hope this doesn't ruin Stephen Amell's chance of being a movie star, because while there was a lot I did like about the Turtles film that came out last year that Michael Bay was involved, there were a lot of things I did like about it, but overall that movie was just bad. I hate Michael Bay in general, and I'm hoping that he doesn't fuck up Stephen Amell's chance to be a movie star, because I think he could be a great movie star, and I don't know, I just wish he picked a better choice. But hopefully he can do a great job and just make it one of the things I enjoy about this film, because my expectations of the film are just low, because I was so disappointed by the first one. Because there was expectation, but considering I was disappointed, I was going into there with no expectation, so kind of an improvement to be disappointed. Anyway, so that's going to wrap up our show. Chris, thank you very much for being here.
Oh yeah, it's great being here. It's like great talking these two shows to you, other geeks. It's really been a pleasure, my friend.
That's why we're here. We're geeks who love this show. All right, guys. So, like I said, that wraps it up for our last hour recap. Don't forget to tune in May 4th. It's all things Avengers on that episode. So we will see you then for our main show. Until then, have a great night.